It's that time again, is it? Then let's go.
Why, hello there, and welcome to the band show. I'm your host, WackJob, and this right here is my mad Twara, and is happy to see you. So, welcome to the band show. It's the show where I review movies that are either been banned in the past or present or whatever for their graphicness and what have you messed up stuff. And I'm also going to share some facts with you towards the end. So I'm going to start with our review, and this month's movie is probably one of the most notorious of this modern era. The Human Centipede. First sequence. Let's review. Written and directed by Tom Six, starring Dita Laza, Ashley C. Williams, Ashlynn Yennie, and Akihiro Okamoto or something Japanesey. So this, of course, follows crazed retired surgeon Dr. Joseph Heiter, who was known for separating conjoined twins, but in retirement lost his way in life and wanted to start bringing people together. So he designs a never-before-seen operation which makes Siamese triplets connected via the gastric system, basically sewing them together mouth to anus, cutting their kneecaps, and making them a human centipede, and who have to eat shit that's disgusting, but that's what we're talking about today. So basically he kidnaps these tourists. He kidnaps two American women, Lindsay, played by Ashley C. Williams, and Jenny, played by Ashlynn Yennie, and then he kidnaps a Japanese guy named Katsuro that he calls Mr. Kamikaze, played by Akimoto guy, whatever. So he then does a PowerPoint presentation when he shows them exactly what he's going to do to give them the heads up, and then he succeeds. And of course, he then trains the human centipede to do one thing for him, which is fetch his newspaper. I'm like thinking, is that it? He's done this whole thing, and that is it? Pretty much so. So anyway, yeah, the two German detectives come in and they're pretty useless. They get killed in a shootout at the end, and then, of course, the Japanese guy commits suicide with a piece of broken glass, and the one at the back gets a blood infection and dies, leaving the middle one alive in the middle, and their fate's left unknown. I mean, Tom Six could have carried that story on in the sequel, but he chose to go in a different direction, where he has the first movie, a movie within the movie, and then the second movie, the first two movies and the third movie being two movies within that movie. It's confusing, I know, and it's different stories, like the sequel follows a crazy little fat boy, a midget that wants to make his own centipede. Okay, that's enough with the story. What did I like? Well, I did like the originality in this movie. I believe this movie is banned still to this day, but it's available to own on home media such as DVDs, and I believe it's being broadcast on certain channels. So this is a Dutch horror, and basically not a lot of practical effects fall to three actors who played the human centipede. Now, this took a lot of teamwork. I'm thinking, how the hell did they manage to keep their faces so close to their asses? Well, they had fake butts with things to bite down on so they can hang on to it. And the bandages and whatever you just hid. All that. Yeah, I gotta give kudos to those three though. They must have had joint aches and that for weeks after making that movie. And yeah, they pretty much crawled around a lot on their fours. The Japanese guy, I believe, accepted the role because he was told he would have two women sewn to his ass, and he was like, hell yeah, I want to do it. So, they did great jobs. Of course, after he makes the centipede, there's not much English going on with the two women with a mouse in an ass going, Oh, but I also like Dieter Laza, playing the antagonist for this one, Dr. Heiter. I believe he was based around Josef Mengele, a World War II Nazi scientist who had sick ambitions like he did. More about that in the facts, though. But yeah, Dieter Laza, he looked very, very sinister and quite evil and demented. Could you guys keep the torturing down over there in the next room? Sorry, I got some guys torturing another guy because he screwed me over or something. That is my work business, clown mouth hearing. Yeah, Dieter Laza was great, and I believe he was a method actor and stating character throughout the production. I gotta give points to Tom Six as well, who wrote and directed the movie. Now, I believe I haven't ever seen anything like this before in a body horror movie. So, quite original, I gotta say. Yeah, it's fucked up and twisted, I know, but, I believe that, like many bad movies, this is ahead of its time. I guess we're not all that ready yet to see some sick, twisted stuff, but there you go. So, yeah. Of course, I do have my negatives about this movie. Despite the idea being good, and the first act being quite entertaining, during the middle act, it's just boring. Not a lot goes on. Like I say, he makes the centipede to do one thing for him, which is fetch his newspaper, and I just think, the fuck? This is all he's doing here. He's treating it like a dog, and he's waiting for them to pass their shit over to one another. Yeah. Again, the shit scene, you don't see much around that. You see mainly a lot of suggestion and horror in the young woman's face when she's forced to do that. Of course, like I say, not a lot goes on in the middle act of this movie. There is a good final act where two German detectives come in and investigate, knowing he's hiding something, but then they make the dumbass decisions that they make in a movie that's cliched. There's even a bit in the first act where the two young women are traipsing through the woods and bitching for like 10 minutes because they're having car trouble, and they stumble across Dr. Heider's house, and they go in, they get drugged and shit. Yeah, that again was predictable. Of course, there was also some other things that were cliched in that too, and yeah, the ending, however, I feel it could have ended better. It would be nice to know what happened to the woman in the middle, Lindsay, but I guess we're left to find out for ourselves what happened next. Did she die? Did she survive? Did help come? I don't know. And yeah. So this movie has some good intentions, some good originality in there, but some bits in it are just a bit slow. But, yeah, I gotta give credit where it's due with all the acting in the movie, and all the shit terror. We also don't see this much of the operation scene. We see bits of the surgery scene happening, but again, a lot of it's left to suggestion. When Tom Six made this trilogy, he said the second movie's gonna make the first one look like a Disney movie. I like to think of the trilogy as a three-course meal. The first sequence as the appetizer, full sequence as the main course, and final sequence as the dessert. Of course, Tom Six intended for this to be a comedy, but he couldn't get it sold as that, so he made it a horror. Anyway, my ratings, what am I gonna give it? You know what, the hell with it, I'll give it 3 whacks out of 5. So there you go, there's your review. Now for the final part, the facts. Let's do it.
Writer and director Tom Six showed a drawing of the Human Centipede to all the actresses who showed up to the casting session. Many actresses walked out in disgust after discovering what the role actually entails, but in the end he found 2 young women, Ashley C. Williams and Ashlynn Yennie. When Tom Six approached investors prior to filming, the filmmaker told them that he wanted to make an international horror movie that involved stitching people together, but did not mention how exactly they would be stitched together, fearing that the mouth-to-ass aspect would put off the investors. The paintings of the conjoined twins displayed throughout Hyder's villa were painted by the writer and director Tom Six himself, which he felt contributed to the atmosphere in the house. Tom Six even contacted the real surgeon for the Human Centipede design. This is the way the film has the tagline 100% medically accurate, which is not true. The three actors who played the Human Centipede were given massages by the end of every day of filming due to them being on their hands and knees all day long. Some scenes in the movie are so controversial that some people walked out during test screenings of the movie. In the scene where Lindsay falls into the swimming pool, actress Ashley C. Williams was really shivering as the heating was not working that day of filming, so the water was really cold. Lead actor Dita Laza came up with the idea to both smell the pus and lick the blood off the stairs, which I feel just makes the movie that more gross. The opening scene, which featured only Dita Laza and Rain Del Witt, was shot on the last day of filming. Dita Laza even wore Tom Six's mirror glasses for the scene. The inspiration for the character of Dr. Hyder was based on real Nazi scientist Josef Mengele, who really had an obsession with putting twins close together. And, of course, Dr. Hyder's first name as well was Joseph. The cage scenes for the movie was a real dog cage. The movie was originally planned to be a comedy where it would be a truck driver having two, child predators sewn to his ass, and, like I said, tried to sell it as a comedy, but only ended up doing it as a horror and changed some other things to the movie we know now. The actors playing the Human Centipede, Ashley C. Williams and Akihiro, the Japanese guy, had molds of their asses and a piece to bite down on when they were in the characters. Ashlynn Yennie, who played the back end, asked what suit the actors would be wearing, but I can tell you that they ended up wearing bandage shorts. This movie, of course, also spawned two sequels. Director Tom Six thought he could carry the stories on from one another, but decided to go in a different approach, by the second movie being a fat little man who is obsessed with the first movie, and then the third movie following a prison warden and his accountant, planning to do the same thing to the prisoners of their prison, and again, the first two movies were movies within that movie. The second movie was banned in the UK for a short time, until 2013 when the ban got lifted 2 years after its release. The Human Centipede first sequence was banned in the UK, New Zealand, and Australia, including its sequels, but of course in the UK, owning the movies on DVD is accepted. But even cuts were made in the second movie, so it could be approved for home media. And there you go, facts about the Human Centipede first sequence. Do you know anything else about this sick, twisted movie? Feel free to do share down below.
And there you go. Did you enjoy this episode? Can you stomach the Human Centipede? Did you know any facts about it that I told you? Let us know down in the comments below, and if you like this video, be sure to give it a big thumbs up and to share with your friends, and to feel free to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and to hit that notification bell. All the social media links are down below. I've been WackJob, your host. I'll see you in September, and until next time, don't have nightmares.